listening to Combat Sports UK.
Combat Sports UK.
Welcome back to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. This is the series called Sleeper Fights, where we look at all of the UFC cards and we pick out a fight which we think is flying under the radar but has all the potential to steal the show. UFC Saudi Arabia is Imavov taking on Adesanya this weekend. Dan, what is your sleeper fight for this card?
I think there's only one that's sort of flying under the radar, and it is in the bantamweight division. I've got Nassourdine Imavov versus Vinicius Oliveira. I think this is going to be an electric fight, and I think from the cards we've seen so far this year, bantamweight fights are the way to go. The bantamweight fights are always going to be electric, and this is definitely going to be one of those fights. Vinicius Oliveira had a sublime last year. That knockout over Bernardo Sopaj was unbelievable. One of the knockouts of the year. And then being Ricky Simone. I think it should have been as well.
I wasn't even in conversation for a lot of them either, but the way he timed that knee, whoa.
I think it was an Apex card, so I think he got a bit, sort of chucked away. Alex Pereira, Topuria, Holloway. Unfortunately, the stages those knockouts were on, it's hard to bring. Oh yeah, there was this great one on the Apex. It's a bit like you can't really shine a light on it. But yeah, no, I think he had a really, really stellar year last year. I think that performance he put on over Ricky Simone at the tail end of last year was something special. And Ricky Simone's a well-respected bantamweight contender from over the years. So I think now Nassourdine Imavov, he is really up against it here. Vinicius Oliveira, Brazil versus Dagestan. We've seen it plenty of times. We'll see it plenty of times more. I think it's a great rivalry that's being built here, and this is going to be an excellent fight that, I think is well deserving of my pick for sleeper fight.
So I do always like to go and try for something a bit different, but me and Dan did come to the same conclusion here that this is the fight to look out for on this card. Said Nurmagomedov, we didn't see him at all in 2024. He had 3 fights cancelled. I think 1 or 2 of them was down to his fault. Some of them was his opponent's fault. So what makes this interesting is seeing him come back after a year out. Vinicius Oliveira picked up 2 wins last year, and he is the more informed fighter. Obviously, as Dan says, that lovely KO, that was a brutal knee. I know I keep talking about it, but that knee was absolutely brutal. And then, of course, the win over Ricky Simone as well. It's Brazil versus Dagestan. We've seen it many times. And there was another fight which I was going to mention as well, just as an honourable mention here, which is also Brazil versus Dagestan. Ikram Aliskerov coming back after his defeat against Robert Whittaker in Saudi Arabia last time out, and he has taken on Andre Muniz. This isn't my sleeper fight, but I thought it was worth throwing in there as well, because it will be interesting to see Aliskerov back in action as well, and I think that's one that will slip under the radar because of that defeat he had against Robert Whittaker. He a lot of the aura that was on him did get taken away, but he's still new into the UFC. I think this is maybe his 3rd UFC fight from memory. I'll need to double check that one. 3rd UFC fight, and he steps in there at late notice against Robert Whittaker, who was meant to fight Chimaev. He's picked up 2 losses in his career. The first one was in Brave against Chimaev before Chimaev joined the UFC. So that's his first loss, and his second loss, that one against Robert Whittaker. So I'm looking forward to seeing Aliskerov back in there as well. Andre Muniz coming off a win as well. So it's going to be an interesting one, that as well. Dagestan versus Brazil is the way to go this time, Dan.
Oh, definitely. I think it's a good pick as well. I think, again, everyone's interested to see Aliskerov because, like I said, when he came in, it was very much, is this your 185 Dagestani fighter? Like, this is where everyone picks their Dagestani fighter for their champion. Everyone always looks for one. It was going to be Chimaev 2 was a fight that a lot of people think, that could be one in a few years' time. But yeah, like I said, great to step in on short notice. Unfortunately, sometimes it does backfire. We've just seen it with Renato Moicano. We've just seen it with Aliskerov last year. Like I said, sometimes you just step in, take the opportunity. You don't get that Michael Bisping moment. You do get, unfortunately, chinned in the first round. So for Aliskerov, I think it's a bounce back moment, and I think Andre Muniz is a good quality opponent to do it against. So they've not thrown him straight back up into the rankings against someone like a Cannonier or someone like that. That would have been a bit of a touchy fight. So I think Muniz is a good level opponent for him to come back into. I do agree. It's an honourable mention here. Like I said, I prefer mine. Like I said, it's a bantamweight. I think bantamweights are always going to be an electric fight. I think mine's got a real energy behind it, and like I said, Vinicius Oliveira Oliveira, he's a showman as well. Like you said, we've seen it with Merab just the other weekend there, showing off. I think Vinicius Oliveira's got that in his locker as well. So I think him against Saeed and Nurmagomedov, who will be looking to really push on. Like I said, it was a 1 win, 1 defeat for Team Khabib. Like I said, Saeed Nurmagomedov will be looking to get back on a positive for Khabib. So I think that's an excellent fight. I completely agree. Alice Gurov versus Muniz kicking off the main card. I believe that's a good pick as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and in terms of Vinicius Oliveira, you're talking about the showmanship, and it's very, very true. And something, a similarity that I see in him and someone like Carlos Prates is that they really do want to find that highlight reel KO. Obviously, last time out it worked out well for Vinicius Oliveira, but that's something that he's got. He's not happy just with a decision win. He will try and finish the fight, which, as you say, is why that is our sleeper pick for UFC Saudi Arabia. So on at UK time, guys, make sure and tune in. There's no excuses not to be watching this card and not to be watching our sleeper fights. You can't blame it on the sleep. We always want cards on at UK European time, and this is one of them. So thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Sleeper Fights. Make sure and enjoy the fights, and we will see you in the next one.